Controlled Chaos with your hosts, Liz and Allie.
I'm Liz, the writer.
And I'm Allie, the publicist.
We are your quintessential 40-something besties who dive headfirst into all things pop culture.
Think motherhood, relationships, hot stories taking over your newsfeed, and of course, the latest gripping true crime mysteries.
This is Controlled Chaos, your much-needed weekly pop culture juice.
Drink up. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Controlled Chaos.
Here we are, just right here in our homes, coming at you live, or not live at all, just coming at you.
And today we want to talk about, if you're at all reading pop culture news, you've seen all the stories about J-Lo and Ben, or as everyone calls them, Bennifer, right? Is it Bennifer?
Yeah, Bennifer is a throwback. That was what they were first called. We're in the mood to dive into a little celebrity gossip today. We're going to cover two couples, Bennifer and Brangelina, who these are actually both throwback couples that are now relevant again because, well, Bennifer just got full on, they got remarried. They never got married the first time. If you guys remember, they had very, very, very highly publicized engagement. They broke up before the wedding. And the reason that allegedly they broke up was because Ben Affleck didn't like all the publicity around their whole relationship. And Brad Angelina, I don't even have to give you, if you don't know what happened with that, then like you're living under a rock. Obviously that was 2005, I think, that he divorced Jennifer Aniston, married her, they had 1 million kids, and now they're going
Weirdly, they didn't get married till 2014, but they were together for many years.
Yeah, they haven't, exactly. They were married a very short time. Their divorce is going on longer than their marriage. This divorce has like been really drawn out, really nasty. And I actually messaged Allie the other day. I'm like, I kind of want to get into this because I am, and you know what, let's go ahead and just start with them because I'm intrigued. Just this week, the reason it sparked it is that one of their daughters just dropped. Was it Shiloh? She dropped Pitt. So she was doing some work with her mom, I think in some theater. And she legally changed her name to Jolie, and she dropped the Pitt. And some of the kids are talking to Brad. Some aren't. Maddox apparently hasn't talked to him at all since. So that plane incident. If you guys have read what happened, what started this divorce is they're on a private plane, and according to Angelina, he was drunk, abusive, acting like really erratic. And since then, the divorce proceedings have she like took away this big, like this incredible big, like Parisian. It's in somewhere in France. It's like vineyard villa they have, and like she
got married there. I think it's called the Maribel Estates. Yeah,
like whatever. I really want to know. We'll never know what happened on that plane, but whatever happened, it was just like whoop. She went hard in the paint. She left him, took that thing away. She's trying to like get the kids against him, and it's just been like boom, boom, boom ever since. And I'm just curious. I mean, there's got to be some truth to him acting right, like him acting not favorably. I mean,
I feel like you have to do, I don't know. The first interesting thing to me was the daughter Shiloh, who changed the last name. They made a big stink in the press how she hired a lawyer with her own money. You know, she's had some Hollywood work in the past. She starred in a few things. She was in like some of her parents' movies, like Benjamin Button. And she's a dancer, right? She's a really talented dancer too.
Wasn't she the one who is the baby in Maleficent? Remember one of the kids who is the baby Aurora? I think it was her. Or maybe it was
female, might have been. Yeah, I think Shiloh was in Benjamin Button and maybe in Changeling or something, or I'm not sure, but I know that either way, she's the eldest, right? She's 18.
Oh yeah, then it wasn't her in Maleficent. It was one of the twins. But yeah, she is. Yeah, she's the of their children together, their natural children. Yes,
right. They have 3 kids together, I think, and then
Vivian, Knox, and Shiloh. They have those twins, and then he adopted all the kids though.
Right. Well, so what I found interesting with Shiloh though was like because you can't help but read the stories and think like Angelina is behind it and fueling like the kids to want to not, have connection and relationship with the father, whatever toxicity. I mean, we know how divorces go, and I can't imagine how difficult it must be to not speak ill of your partner, your ex-partner in all these moments where you're alone with your kids and they're asking questions, and to just remain straight cold face and say, no, we're just, irreconcilable differences. No big deal. Like, you're going to get into it. It's your kids. Like,
and you make a really good point there too. Like divorces are hard enough to say that way when you're a normal person, but reading how about it. I mean, you can't do the biggest stars there are and reading about Brad's so awful, Angelina's so terrible. I mean, like just like terrible things about your parents all the time. I've always been in this entire thing since the beginning with Angelina and Brad. I will admit I've never been I don't like her. I like her as an actress. I used to love Girl Interrupted. I think she can be very compelling, but there was just something I didn't trust her about that. And Brad, to me, and you and I talked about this, I don't know who he really is. And I'm not sure he knows. I feel like he's a bit of a chameleon in his relationships. Like, I don't know. He takes on the identity of who he's with. I mean, even with Jennifer Aniston, she was like the golden TV girl. He was the golden actor. And like, I just thought he was really like some character things have come out about him that were shitty. Like, like he blamed her, like not wanting to have kids on their divorce. No, that wasn't it. You just full on cheated on her and like got lured. I see how Angelina can lure people in. She's incredibly sexy. She's so mysterious. Like some of the things he used to say about her and versus his marriage with Jennifer, I mean, I could almost like feel it. Like he just felt bored. I mean, there is no like more like sultry minx than Angelina. Like, I can see how she would lure you in, especially if you're feeling sort of bored in your marriage. But like, and then he just went full on into her life, right? Like humanitarian, like he just sort of adapted, I just don't know like if he's always been very vocal about the fact that he had a drinking and problem. He smokes a lot of weed, smokes cigarettes. So like he did talk about substance abuse before. So I definitely think that I don't think these claims are unfounded. I'm sure he acted like a dick on that plane, especially if Maddox hasn't spoken to him since and now the kids or whatever. I'm sure something happened, but did enough happen? Like, I don't know, like how much of this is blown up too. I don't know.
Well, the thing too is like if you look at Angelina's past, and I agree with you, there's something very like witchy and magical about her. Like I bet she's like a magnet and draws you in. I don't know if you've met anyone like that. I have, and it doesn't matter what they look like. Granted, Angelina's stunning, but there's an aura that people carry that you just from her interviews, the way she looks, you can just feel it. And like
I used to call it sex spells. Remember, I used to tell you it's not even sex spells aren't even just about sex. It's like I call it a sex spell because someone like there's nothing more powerful, you guys, than a sex spell. It's more powerful than love. It's like the most powerful thing. If someone's got you like it's like in this alluring trap, like I said, I call it a sex spell. It's not even about sex. It's just about the intrigue. And if you have someone like caught in that, it's super powerful. And I think she's like a master at it. I really do. I think she gets people really like allured with her.
that's also how like a lot of relationships lead to divorce because they're so caught up in that sex spell for years. And all of a sudden,
I think he was. I think he got like really into it, like into that web. And she is never into that web. When you're the sex spell giver, you can sort of just like hop from web to web. Yeah, seriously. I mean, look at her and Billy Bob. I mean, he was engaged to to Laura Dern. And like, and that, I love her. I was so funny how she was just like, yeah, I just read in the papers that like my boyfriend was with someone else. I didn't even know, So she's like,
well, okay, so I'm glad you just brought that up because as much as Angelina is like this beautiful vixen, she's like we know that she's super into like she's a humanitarian and she's a conservation. She does lots of conservation and educational related things. She's adopted her children. She's won awards. I mean, we know all this about her, but if you look at her from like a relationship standpoint, first of all, she's bisexual, which is very interesting, I think, because that shows that she's just like very sexual, in my opinion, of like men, women.
She's just sexual. There's like no specificity there. She's just sexual, which is again is a great sex spell giver. I mean, she's just sexual. She kissed her brother. Remember that drama?
Well, and also not only the kissing the brother, which of course was very bizarre. And I also think you have to look at like, she's got a very weird father, John Voight, right? From our favorite movie, Anaconda. He had like the worst breath in that movie, by the way, you could tell, right?
Oh, John Voight.
That steak scene.
Their relationship's been very up and down. He talks, they talk, they don't talk. Yeah.
Well, and look at this. Her kids are having the same issue with her ex-husband now. Like you can't help but see it, the apple not falling far from the tree because that's
great point there. Great point there. That actually, you're right. That's kind of what she knows. It's like her background. She's had a very tumultuous relationship with her dad, from speaking to him, not speaking with him. And that's really, I didn't even think about that point. That's really interesting.
And then think too about how when she met Billy Bob, like was there any, first of all, carrying around blood vials? Is that
yeah, they were for some reason their relationship made more sense to me though, because he to me seems like someone who just like doesn't give a fuck. He's sort of like, I think this sounds weird, I never thought I'd say this. He may have been the only person in a sense that had her under a little bit of a sex. They were like sex spelled with each other. Like they were really like, I don't know. Like I actually think they fit. I watched her like kind of like documentary or something about it. I think she really changed when she met Maddox, when she went over and she really got involved in that. And he just wasn't on that page with her. Like they were like this, he just didn't want to follow that path. But I actually think them as a couple, like their compatibility made a lot of sense. It's just they went in different directions. He didn't want to like to do that, adopt all these kids and do all these things.
But what I find weird with them was this Angelina's coming hot off. She's won an Academy Award, Golden Globes. Like she's at the top of her game. She's probably been noted as one of the most beautiful women in the world by people. She's making the most money out of most female actresses in the space. She gets with Billy Bob Thornton, and there's obviously weird situation with Laura Dern and how that went down. They're carrying blood vials. Then they decide to adopt a child 3 months later, and then they overnight everything changed and they get separated.
And that's exactly what happened here. Because she's impetuous. She doesn't like, she just like jump. I mean, she does. That's kind of like, and if you look at her background, she just jumps onto things. She changes things really quick. She does not, almost like she doesn't get, she attaches hard, then she detaches just as hard.
She attaches, she's like a, what is that animal that
like a praying mantis.
Like a praying mantis, yes.
She eats her prey. Like she does. She like, I mean, she really does. I mean, it's truly like the accurate metaphor.
And now she's acting as a praying mantis on the legal side, trying to devour him however she can, defame him, whatever she can, it seems.
That's what I mean. That's what it is about her. She's really like, she's almost like an extremist. Like she goes in really, really hard on things and she goes out of them just as hard. She doesn't do anything without going hard in the paint. And the way she's going after Brad right now, I'm not like, again, I don't know what happened on that plane. None of us do. And if someone attacked my children, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
But it's like her
but she also has such a track record of acting like this that it's hard for me. And I don't like when she kind of comes off as like, oh, I'm like, I would never affair with a married man. She's been an adulteress multiple times.
She does come across as an adulteress. And I think when her values get crossed, like someone violates her values in any sort of way, or her like emotional values, or whatever it is,
she's like, you're
done.
Praying mantis, and she annihilates them. Well, I was just going to say what's developed latest in the case is she had to give up so she's kind of been owning this case up until recently. She had to give up all these non-disclosures. That's the last thing I read, is like, that was a big break for Brad. But it's still I don't think it's really like much of an end in sight. This is a very long, nasty divorce.
Did you read too that she, just to piss him off, sold, I guess, her stake in the winery in the vineyard to some like Russian billionaire? Like,
yes, like that's what I'm saying. She's being very petty, very like vicious. Vicious is the word. Like, she is not someone I'd want to piss off.
And I don't know if you remember this, but when Brad back in the day wasn't he with Gwyneth Paltrow when they were dating back in the day? And she, in an interview, described Brad as one of the good ones. And she was praising his character because she got confronted by Harvey Weinstein.
Or he started to, yes, and Brad confronted him.
And Brad stepped in. And so you have to look at all these character-based things. And I can't imagine, I mean, Angelina came from a Hollywood background with her father. Brad from Oklahoma, Ohio. I don't know where he's from, but he's not from anything. He's just like
he's like a Midwestern boy who's good looking and talented. I mean, he is talented.
You just gotta weigh all those pieces out to try to really understand character here, what's going on. Like Angelina, like we said, not only does she go hard, like praying mantis style with relationships, look how she's with adopting children, her humanitarian efforts, going from acting all the way to directing. Like she seems to take everything from 0 to 100. The blood
because she grew up in privilege, and I'm not saying that, but like she kind of was able to get what she wanted, and that shows her confidence of being able to go after what she wants comes very often when you have a life where you didn't really have to want for anything.
Well, we don't know that though, right? We don't know how she grew up. I mean, I don't know enough about her. Yeah.
She grew up somewhat privileged. She grew up in a Hollywood family. She obviously wasn't broke. I mean, I just mean that like there's something to be said about like growing up with some financial advantage and like in the Hollywood spotlight already. I'm not saying she didn't earn her place. I think she is incredibly talented. I love to watch her. I mean, Girl Interrupted, I still think is one of the best performances. She earned it. I'm not saying that. I just mean there's like I'm gonna quote my therapist for a second. One time she told me that when you grow up with that kind of support, you can jump from branch to branch. If that branch breaks, you jump on another. You don't give a shit. Because there's gonna be another branch. I'm not saying that's her entirely. And by the way, that has nothing to do with money. That comes with supportive parents, which I'm not necessarily sure she had. But like, or you grew up thinking you're not gonna jump on that branch because that branch is gonna break. So I kind of feel like she goes hard on everything and doesn't really care what breaks. I mean, that sort of seems to be how she is in life. And it's just amazing to me that like how much she loved Brad turned on a dime. I mean, she despises this guy now, it seems like. So I don't know. So I don't know how that's going to roll out, but it's getting pretty bad between them.
I also think there's something to be said about the amount of kids she has, her children. I think sometimes when there's something that's trying to be covered up or replaced or missing, you
Filling a void. She's filling a void. Absolutely. And she obviously didn't feel like, I think there's a void missing in her own family. Yes. And she tries to make up for other ways.
and now that tribe is sort of like, I'm sure it feels a little good to have a couple of your kids going against your ex because you are going against him too.
And who knows what they're like as parents? I mean, we'll never know. No one knows what happens like between that. But
she appears to be sort of good mother. I mean, from what you see and how.
absolutely, of course, we think that, but we don't know what's happening or what she's saying to the kids about Brad or what Brad's saying about them. Like, what kind of toxicity is happening through this divorce? We have no idea what the kids are hearing. Just like you never know with any divorced couple.
What else is weird too is like a month ago, I thought I read that Shiloh was going to be moving into Brad's Los Feliz mansion, and now this name change thing came up. So I feel like something happened in the last couple of months because I think she was leaving Angelina's home and she wanted to like go live with her dad for a bit.
Maybe it was this big thing with the NDA. I mean, this thing that happened with Angelina in court, she's really pissed about apparently. So maybe I don't know if that was it, or I don't even know what that's going to mean. Her bringing her having to give up all these NDAs, but just they said it was a major break for Brad. I don't know. I have no idea. All I do know is that like the ability to kind of just it went from 0 to 60 with this real quick. The plane incident happened, happy married family, happy couple, and then boom, it has just been crazy. And that will kind of segue us into now. Let's go into Bennifer. Okay.
And J-Lo is similar, right? Where she jumps real fast like that.
J-Lo is just, she's similar, but it's different, but it is in the same church, different pew. I think she is just like a hardcore, very hard on herself, very big time perfectionist. I think that her brand is everything to her. I think that like, we talked about this offline. I think it's a little weird to me that her and Ben even mesh because, like, how do you even marry J Lo and ask her not to make her like don't do social media? That's just who she is. Like, she likes to live that public life, and that was why they broke up the first time. So they get remarried. Everyone's like, oh, storybook romance. And the first thing she does is put out that documentary, which, and like he's participating in it, but it just seems like that's exactly what he didn't want. He likes to fly kind of under the radar.
Well, and even when they first got back together, there was no privacy there. They were going off to different movie festivals, traveling, holding hands everywhere on yachts. Like it really did feel, even though they were like shielding themselves while they walked and wouldn't talk to press, that's still a press play to go out in public together versus, not be seen for 6 months and really focus on building like a strong relationship.
Exactly. And I think they could have done that if they wanted to. So you're right. Maybe that brings up the point. Like maybe this was a press play. I'm not, you never really know. And this is what, her fourth marriage or fifth?
Fourth or fifth. I can't honestly.
I think she's been divorced 4 times.
And she talks about that, and she has a new doc now. I don't know if you've seen that This Is Me Now. So this is a self-funded documentary / project because she couldn't get any streamers to pick it up. So this is what she's saying in the movie itself. Ben is all throughout the movie, and it's literally like her going through all of her music, and she's creating like a theatrical experience around it. So there's that came out plus this documentary not doing well. Her new album that she launched with this, which is sort of like I think it's like a collection of some of her old stuff with some new stuff, not doing well. Her tour, as we know, got canceled now. She canceled it.
That's
months ago. I remember seeing some different dates and locations getting pulled from the schedule because I remember seeing like there were 2. Now there's one Miami, whatever it was. And certain cities she doesn't even go to because
that's killing her.
That is exactly the point. Is she and her manager Benny Medina, they've been together for years and years and years. They are a money-making marketing machine. I mean, they know how to work that JLo machine. And I feel like, she was able to get around this with like Mark Anthony and the other people she dated, the Alex Rodriguez stuff, like A-Rod. She was always able to like stay focused.
Side note, they were a great couple.
They were a great couple on paper because they're very similar, but I think when it came down to like true, passionate, real love, like there was nothing.
No, true. I just thought they made sense, I guess. There's something about them that made sense to me.
Didn't he also make sense with Mark Anthony? I mean, he's a fucking one of the most famous Latin singers in the world.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I mean, I don't know what it was about her and A-Rod. It was just like their drive, their athleticism, they're working out together. They just sort of seemed like he's sort of a perfectionist too. He's been like hard, and he loves his brand. Loves it. I mean, like A-Rod's probably he's one of the biggest brands in baseball, probably ever will be. There's something that aligns there. That's just my opinion. But anyway,
We are all humans. And, at the end of the day, you cannot control a feeling you have with someone. And whether this is a love spell, a sex spell that she has with Ben, or it's true, real love, but there is something going on right now. And I will say that now their Zillow is like about to crash, apparently, because their $60 million LA home that is not listed, it still says sold, just added pictures of and they only bought it a year ago. So what is that about? Because
I didn't know that. Where'd you hear that?
I just read it and paid in it was
What's the saying when there's this much smoke? Like I gotta I say when there's this much, they're probably headed for divorce. I don't know. It just seems like there's so much fuel around this. I can't help and like one rumor, two rumors, but it's everywhere. And like I kind of do feel it.
well, and it was, I think, pretty much like a fact that they didn't see each other for like 46 days straight or something, which is very much not normal when they live in the same town. And now apparently he has been renting out a home in Brentwood for $100,000 a month. And they've now had these publicity stunts where they've met, at one of the kids', graduation.
Publicity stunts. Yeah.
That feels like a publicity stunt. Her getting out of the car, walking in really fast.
They attended Jennifer Gardner, their oldest daughter. Yeah.
Right. That's their team telling them, like, you guys have to keep appearances.
Make an appearance. Make an appearance stat. I know.
But I wonder now that she's canceled her tour. She did have a new movie just launched on Netflix called Atlas, which I tried watching the first 5 minutes and it was honestly so bad. I couldn't
Wait, what do
even.
you mean her movie? Did she produce it or
It's just a new movie she's starring in called Atlas. It's like a futuristic dystopian type of movie with flying cars. Sterling K. Brown's in it, who I really love from
I like him too.
Us, yeah. And he was in that recent Academy Award nominated movie.
Oh, he was nominated for that. Did he win? Yeah, supporting.
Oh my God, I can't even remember. What was that movie called? I forget.
I don't remember, but I remember being pumped that he was nominated. But
Yeah, but so he's in this new movie with her, and she apparently has a couple other movies coming out, and all of her most of her movies in the past couple of years have all been duds. I mean, which is also, by the way, unfortunate in my opinion. I want to hear your opinions on her with movies because in the past she has had some really good movies. Like Out of Sight was great with George.
here, Out of Sight was good. Maybe one of her best. That was a long time ago, though. Was that the 90s?
It was, and I mean, I even loved the Matthew McConaughey one. What was the wedding?
Oh, Wedding Planner. That was on. Yeah, the Wedding Planner. That was cute. No, she's had her times.
Had some good ones, and she's not a terrible actress. I just think people are so conformed to her and catering to her that she's stopped like learning, and she's just everyone's her.
Interesting viewpoint. That's interesting viewpoint. Yeah. She's not. That's a really actually you're right. That kind of is what it is. It's like I don't really care to go see J Lo. I know that J Lo. It's like you're right, she's not evolving. Not like I mean, I hate to bring back to vintage control chaos talk right now, but it's not like Taylor Swift, who has evolved so much from like the little country star she was to what she is now, that seeing her at a concert next year is gonna be a completely different experience than seeing her this year. Because and J Lo, you're right. You're just like, I'm having an epiphany. You're totally right. And that's probably why her sales suck because people are like, I've been to this concert. I've been to this concert 1,000 times. It's not going to be any different. It's the same concert. I don't need to see it. It's not going to be anything new.
There's also rumors too that she's looking at getting another really sick Vegas residency for like, I don't know, let's say.
I read that. I saw that.
And that they're trying to, again, with the press, make the press focused on the relationship with Ben and not her lackluster sales, because that might hurt the deal she has in the works. And this is what happens to all these stars that really can't figure out how to reinvent themselves. Pitbull, Ricky Martin, you know what I mean? Like they're still fan favorites. People love them.
People like that are so. I mean, honestly, JLo would be perfect for a Vegas because like that's the show. She can do that show on repeat. It's so Vegas
She already
as
did
it
it.
is.
She had one already.
I know, but like that's kind of what when you do, like you said, when you don't grow, when you don't change, you're not evolving. Just go to Vegas and do your same show forever because it's like I think she's great for that residency because I don't think. But yeah, I think what you said earlier about like they want it to be about her marriage, not about her failing tour sales. I think she probably wants that narrative too, because JLo would rather have her marriage crash and burn than her brand. Let's just be honest.
It hurts her more, which is probably even bigger underlying issue with her and Ben, right? As far as like how their relationship is structured and what it means to her and how she treated. But you know what? Maybe she's going through a big growing phase right now of like really trying to figure out herself, and maybe this pause for the summer, family, friends, maybe she needs to just really look within and be like, what am I doing? I'm in my 50s now. Do I want to be with someone? Do I want to be in it? Do I want to just keep being a worker horse and obsessing?
She has been such a workhorse forever. The only thing I can hope that comes out is if she does divorce from Ben, is that maybe this, like you said, will give her the fodder for a new J Lo. Because, like, yes, you look fantastic. I mean, geez, the woman keeps getting better and better looking. But like, perhaps, like, I don't know, you need to change something within. I'm with you. Like, it's like you're kind of on repeat. It's like a loop here. If this divorce makes you sort of think within, maybe this will get you a better album. Maybe this will get you some better songs, because right now it's just
Oh, but
like,
that makes me sad because I don't want a relationship unless she can go deeper and they stay together, and then it pulls out a whole new side of her that's like love. And you know what, with her movies, like if you okay, so if you see some of the new movies she's had come out lately, they're not like, rom-coms where she kind of can play like herself in a sense. They're like costumed movies, right? Where she plays like a general or like some like, I don't know, it's like really funny, like
where is she? When is she a general?
general. She's not a general, but in the new movie Atlas, she plays some form of governmental, like she's wearing the outfit. And all I can see is like you open JLo's closet up and it's like, who do I want to play today? I'm going to be a badass police officer and I'm going to come out and I'm going to be like with my gun. It's like there's no real acting anymore. It's just, she's really good physically. She can play different roles because her ethnicity.
She's Mad Libs. It's Mad Libs. Somebody just insert. It's like she's just a carbon copy. There's nothing dynamic about her. It's like, let me get AI to make a script. Insert J Lo.
Well said. Like the last two movies that she had with famous people, like she had that some rom-com with Josh Duhamel where they're like in some island and then like I don't know, something I couldn't 5 minutes, it was terrible. And then there was another one with Owen Wilson, and I was like, "Oh, okay, he did a movie with her. That's interesting." And the movie is like she's playing herself. She's a famous celebrity and she falls in love with.
That's the one where she like gets married or whatever. I didn't even watch that. I couldn't even bring myself to watch that. I mean, I think we're right now just explaining in a way. I mean, I'm not saying we speak for the masses here, but we're explaining why it could be possible people are getting bored with J Lo.
But we don't want to be bored with JLo. We want her back. JLo, come down a new block, go down a new farm.
Oh, Jenny from the Block. I loved those
I
days.
know those were the good old days. So, well, this is I think we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens, if their house going to go for sale, or is she going to have a summer of
She's been quiet on the Diddy front too, I must say. For someone who had a
have to be quiet on the Diddy front right now if you had any.
yeah, that's true. That's true. She had a very, very long relationship with him, but I wonder. I mean, she probably feels a little vulnerable with that too. There's a lot going on in her life, you
You know
know.
what? You're right. You're right, because she was a part of that infamous shooting, which there was a woman there who got shot at that nightclub and said she literally physically saw Diddy shoot her.
Oh yeah, no, J Lo was with Diddy arguably at like his peak and like his. So it's like
Starting to like be like huge. You're right.
she probably knows a lot there, and she's probably feeling real weird about all that. So there's a lot going on with our girl right now. I mean, I'm not saying I've always been the biggest J Lo fan, but I certainly don't dislike her. So I kind of want to see
Same.
what
Yeah. Me too. And obviously we want the best for all of these, the Brangelinas and the Bennifers. But yeah, I don't know. And I've always been such a big fan of Ben Affleck. So, it's not easy to
I
be.
am too, but he kind of seems like a jerk. I'm just gonna be honest. He seems like a jerk as a person, but yeah, talented for sure.
He deals with, a lot of stuff. I mean, the alcoholism and all that. I mean, that's a lot to handle. Addiction,
I'm a big fan of Jennifer Gardner. I get more and more a fan of hers all the time. She's so cute on social media. I just love her. Anyway, that's another conversation. But thank you guys for listening to our celebrity. Actually, one thing he said about her, he said a lot about things that weren't like the nicest, but he did say like he was unhappy in his marriage and he admitted it. It kind of made his drinking worse. They're not a good fit. They're like the worst fit. I kind of feel like I do think she was a great fit for him to have children with.
I was gonna say, I'm glad he was able to get children
And he has said that. He has said that. Like, I actually can't. She is a perfect person to have children with. She's a great mother. It's like she's more of that than like an actress, even seeming to me. So I think he made the right choice there, but they don't mesh otherwise.
and their kids seem to be growing up out somewhat of the limelight, like in a structured private versus J-Lo's who are on stage with her and singing, and it's a little bit different. Yeah.
Their kids seem grounded, so that's really good. They've done a good job parenting.
All right. Well, that was another edition of Controlled Chaos, guys. We got a Brangelina, Bennifer, lots of bees going on here. We'll catch you on.
Catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.